What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to go over real quick this new or continued idea of the S13 spindles on a Ford Falcon. So as you can see, I picked up a donor car to do mock-ups with. It's a 64 two-door is it a hardtop? No, two-door sedan, V8 model and all that. So everything, all the suspension parts in it match the Falcon wagon that I have. So I had some brackets made a little bit ago. I need to trim on them a little bit, but the spindle sitting on a Falcon lower control arm. So doing some quick math, first thing that I noticed is the depth from the face of the hub to the ball joint on this particular one is only about 4 inches. So the factory V8 spindle and brake assembly from the lower ball joint out to the face is about 5 inches. So using this as is, this wheel is going to be inset about 1 inch further than it needs to. So I know there was some questions about ball joints. So here is an S13 ball joint I picked up off of Amazon. And what's funny is if you throw that in there, it seats about the right amount of depth, which happens to be the same as this. And if you look at the amount of threads that stick out the top, I mean, that's about right, because once you put a nut on it, suck it in, it's going to pull up to about there, which is what you want. So what's an idea is if you just still wanted to run factory spindles, but you wanted to get rid of this flimsy sheet metal lower control arm, I'm kind of designing a lower control arm that can just be laser cut, and we'll use this ball joint instead. And then it will still use the factory radius arm. Ideally, I'd like to get rid of the radius arm in this whole assembly and replace it with a flat piece of 3/16 or quarter plate with some tabs sticking down and put Heim joints on the end and come up with a completely new radius arm design altogether. So that's kind of what I'm looking at doing with this spindle assembly, is making a control arm that's 1 inch longer, uses this ball joint, but uses a Heim joint up at the top, so there's some adjustability and a little bit easier movement than what this crap does. The only thing is it won't have these bends in it. I mean, it could have this little bend in it, depending on how it's made. I could see if I could find somebody that has a press brake large enough that would be able to bend it. So we'll go inside and I'll fire the computer up. And we can take a look at the Solidworks model that I've kind of designed and give you guys a better idea of what that might look like for a lower control arm. Alright, hope you guys can see this fairly well. But yeah, so that's the idea. Use just a 1/2 inch bung assembly, Heim joint, and then the control arm with the 41 mil hole for the lower ball joint, and then these I just tossed in there. I know they're not right. I think they also need to be moved to the right a touch, and this spread's wrong, but this is a general idea of what a new lower control arm would look like, and it would just be cut out of 3/8 steel plate, and that should be enough for a lower control arm on a Ford Falcon, because there's not a whole lot going on. So yeah, so we'll see. I'll finish up some of these designs, and I might have a couple of them laser cut out and see what it looks like. Have this one. So here's another idea. Heim joints on the ends make it all one piece. So the radius rod would be here, 41 mil hole up front for the lower ball, some lightning holes, and Heim joint at the bottom. So this is another idea. I'm not sure. This one costs almost 3 times more to cut out than the other one because of, I think, just wasted material. But it was an idea.